time elevated human temperature solution. I'll be one of your hosts today. My name is Patrick Lamb. I'm the project manager for the East Coast for this company. We're joined here and blessed. We have the presence of Eric Milicic. He is the product manager. Today, my friends, we will be going over this brand new solution. Just as a FYI, for all questions, you can type it inside of the group chat. We will periodically be going over these questions, and we will go over all of them if we miss them out in the Q&A session, okay? This will be recorded and it will be uploaded to our drive where by the end of the day, you'll be able to download it. Okay, guys? So don't worry too much about the recording. The PowerPoint as well as this pre-recording will be available. I have some really good news for you guys today. It's really important. So let's just get into it, okay? Let's just get into it. We're all gathered here today for a common cause and a common reason, all right? The reason why is that our world needs our help. Our world needs our help. Our friends, our family, our loved ones. There's something going out around us. It's invisible, and I'm sure you've heard it all over the news, right? This global pandemic that humanity is trying to overcome right now is the hottest topic on the market. It is affecting all aspects of our life. Some of us now are even working at a remote location. Why? Because even public areas and public sectors is potentially compromised. But compromised with what? All right. In the news, to catch at anyone else who has been sheltered in a bunker, okay, we're experiencing a global pandemic of a virus called COVID-19, right? And COVID-19 is a respiratory virus where it affects our ability to perform one of the most needed functions in our body, which is breathing, okay? And what I want to mention before I dive deeper into this is that I hope that we all feel a sense of responsibility. We have within our means, within our industry, within our forte, this is our craft. We have a piece of the puzzle, guys. And it's our job to deliver it to the world. So in a time of need, heroes are born. And every participant today, every person that you share this information with, you're going to be part of the solution. And that's a beautiful thing, guys. All right. Today, we're going to be going over these core subjects. For all of you guys who don't know about ENS Security, we're going to go ahead and introduce you to what we are about. Okay. We're going to go over the current market trend on this solution pre and post pandemic. We're going to show you the physical setup, the hardware and software configurations, but even more importantly, the features. We're going to show you how this piece of the puzzle plays in the bigger piece that everybody else, all of humanity, is pitching in and doing their due diligence. We're going to go over case studies. We're going to show you known projects that have already worked here domestically and internationally. And I'm sure that when it's all said and done, if there are still any outstanding questions, we're going to have a Q&A session where you have the ability to ask us whatever other outstanding questions you guys might have. All right, so let me jump to it. Who is ENS? What do we represent? So ENS Security, we are one of the largest CCTV surveillance distributors here in the United States. We've been around for quite some time. We have 10 locations nationwide, strategically placed, all on the lip of the United States, fully stocked, fully loaded. But this is our mission statement that we strive towards every single day. okay? We strive to provide the best service to our customers. Not only do our customers receive the latest and highest quality of product available on the market, but here's the real deal. We also foster a lifetime relationship with our honorable customers to help further develop and strengthen their respective businesses. This opportunity with us is always about a partnership. When we think about a project, it's our project. Why? Because I care about what happens to you. We care about the end result with your end user. This is what has helped us survive and flourish since we have been around since the year 2000, okay? And this is our vision. We want to provide you all of these main 3 bullets and more. Best quality service and products best quality in surveillance products and services. We have top customer ratings and satisfaction. And we're all about the partnership to grow. Without you guys, there is no us. So we really appreciate this partnership, okay? We've been doing this since the year 2000. It's now approached our 20th year anniversary. And believe it or not, we've gone through a lot of trials and tribulations to get to this point, okay? And it is because we have such a close relationship with our innovative factories, we're able to meet your demands. We're able to entertain the quirkier projects. And my God, we do have a special solution to share with you today. But before we get into that, a little bit more about us. Let's watch a quick video.
ENS Security was established from the year 2000. Our friendly sales representatives will help you find the perfect device for your business needs. We carry the most cutting-edge CCTV technologies in the world and only sell high-quality products with the lowest price on the market. Currently, we have over 10 branches nationwide, located in Los Angeles, City of Industry, San Francisco, Plainview, College Point, Brooklyn, Houston, Dallas, Chicago, Miami, and are currently growing from the east to the west coast of the United States. We have the best pre-sales consultation, the best after-sales tech support, and the best warranty for our products. From our knowledgeable staff to our on-time delivery services, we are confident that our products will help protect and grow your business. ENS Security. By professionals, for professionals.
Awesome, guys. That happens to be our corporate video. You got a taste. It makes you want to dance. I know, John. That's good. That's the energy we want to give you. Okay. In that we have something special, and you're working with the right people to deploy this kind of solution. So you got a taste of some of our locations over there. Some of the videos that you see over there are actually from our California office. Okay. We work very hard to maintain all of our inventory and obviously the quality of our product and our service. Okay, just want to give you a little taste of who you're working with. But the next thing we're going to dive into, now that you guys know a little bit more about us, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Let's get down to the next topic, market trend. Okay, market trend. And what we're going to go over here, and as I've been taught for so many years of my schooling, and it's really important to know where you came from to know where you're at today. And this kind of information can give you a very good roadmap to the future, okay? So we're gonna go over the past, present, and future projections of elevated body temperature solution. Elevated body temperature solution. So what are we talking about right now, guys? We're talking about this global pandemic. And this global pandemic has presented a lot of new opportunities for many, many different industries, okay? Not only for industries to revise what they're currently manufacturing to meet the demands of the world, okay? But there's also industries that are creating new solutions that was never available before at this caliber to fight off what humanity is going through together, okay? What we're talking about today is the great improvement of thermal technology. Thermal technology, for all of those who don't know, is a technology that's able to detect heat signatures. And it actually was derived in the past around World War I, okay, around World War I. They were using these thermal cameras to oversee certain type of operations. Let's just say it's even the engineers and the mechanics double checking to see if things overheat or maybe they're too cold, right? But at that given time, the accuracy level of thermal cameras didn't need to be at the caliber of what we need today, okay? It was actually a range during World War I. It was a range where they were concerned if things inside, let's just say a tank, a military tank, was it overheating or is it too cold and that's why it's not starting up? So it was just a range. If it got into the red zone, maybe we need to make some modifications. If it was in the colder zone, maybe there's something that we need to heat up that contraption. But in today's market, because of COVID-19, the accuracy level of this solution needed to be improved. Specifically from, let's just say, plus or minus 5 to 10 degrees plus. Now it has improved all the way to plus or minus 0.54 degrees Fahrenheit. Amazing, guys, amazing. And if you wanted to know, to be considered a caliber of medical grade accuracy, it's actually plus or minus around 0.6, 0.5 degrees Fahrenheit. Although this is not a medical grade device, it has the accuracy of that caliber. You might ask, why doesn't it have that certification yet? Well, this solution came out very recently with the exponential growth of this pandemic, okay? So is it going through those certifications? The answer is yes, in terms of making it, let's say, FDA compliant. But this thermal solution, the beauty of it is that it is a contactless solution that can detect the elevated body temperatures at a longer range of between 10 to 15 feet. Some of you guys might think, hey, listen, maybe I've heard of technology out there on the market before. Thermal guns, why can't I use that, Pat? That sounds pretty good, right? It works. It works for many years. What's so good about yours? Well, guess what? With the lack of information that we know from this disease, what we do know is that it is known to be in the air in droplets, in viral droplets, right? And the droplets can extend off of someone that is infected, let's say up to 6 to 8 feet. Initially is what they thought. That's why they made the social distancing rule. But a thermal gun requires around 6 inches to a maximum of 1 feet off the forehead to detect the temperature. All right. What we're doing right now with this solution is that we are promoting and creating a safer, contactless means to detect temperatures, okay? You do not need to put all of these frontline healthcare workers or essential businesses in further trouble, being that the technology doesn't put them in a safer environment. So the technology we have right now gives them the ability to alert and record elevated body temperatures. And I'm being very specific in using this word, elevated body temperature. This camera will set alerts after you set a certain parameter, okay, which we will go over later on. So here's a little bit about the past, a little bit about the present that we're all encountering right now. But what is the future of this technology? What is the future of this technology? Well, frontline healthcare workers and essential businesses already need this, But let me ask these 74 participants in this webinar right now. Are we tired of watching Hulu and Netflix? Have we gone through all the seasons? Are you ready to have a nice meal with your family? One day we will get there. But to get there, we need to help the civilians regain confidence in public areas. That's what we need to do. Unless all of a sudden we have the ability to identify and see these viruses efficiently, giving the public and these kind of entities more information is going to allow them to isolate the population that needs help and to allow the population that are not showing elevated temperature to proceed with what they need to do. So this solution, elevated human body detection, is of something of the past that has been used, has been perfected in the present moment, and is also going to be used in the future. Let's talk a little bit about statistics and real facts, okay? So COVID-19, a respiratory virus, has many common similar symptoms to the common flu, which include cough, fatigue, and fever, according to Healthline, okay? According to medicinenet.com, a person with a fever has a temperature of 100.4 degrees Fahrenheit in imperial and 38 degrees Celsius in metric. According to MedalinePlus.gov, a normal body temperature is generally accepted at 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit imperial, 37 degrees Celsius metric. Why am I sharing this with you? Because these are the elevated temperature ranges that we're looking for. We are looking for anything above 100.3. Okay, we're looking for anything above 100.3 because 100.4 you are now considered to have a fever. Okay. We're also talking about the thermal market. And the thermal market pre-pandemic has risen to a 3.2 billion with a B, billion-dollar industry. And these are all the sectors as of 2012 to 2020, which has skyrocketed in the demand and need of thermal cameras. But what I'm trying to show you here is that if this was the demand in millions already, you can expect that during and post-pandemic, all of these vertical sectors are going to skyrocket, okay, are going to skyrocket in demand. I want to really paint the picture for you guys, and it actually saddens me to show you this tracker. So we want to track the storm right now. And as you can see on the top right-hand corner is a very familiar tracker, which I'm sure you guys have seen, the Johns Hopkins Public COVID-19 tracker. These were figures as of April 14th around 1 p.m. I double-checked this count today. We're now above 2 million, about 2.1 million confirmed cases. Okay. This is happening whether you like it or not. Whether we like it or not, it's affecting everybody. It does not discriminate. But we have a piece of the puzzle, guys. What are the guidelines that our country has set for us? Well, we need to wash our hands thoroughly as possible. We need a self-quarantine to mitigate the possibility of transfer. We need to go out only based on essential needs. And I hope everyone here is taking the proper measures for PPE gear if they're going out to cover their mouth, nose, and hands. What are the current big issues that our solution solves? Think about it, guys. All the frontline workers, they need our help. PPE equipment is definitely one. But what if we can give them a better understanding of what's going on in their facilities by being able to isolate the traffic that's coming in for those who have elevated body temperatures? That would make their process better. That will give them more confidence, okay? We also need the ability to identify and isolate candidates with possible symptoms. Can we currently do that? The answer is yes. But with this platform, with this solution, it can actually detect up to 5,000, my friends, 5,000 faces if this is set up properly every 3 hours. Okay. Identifying and isolating candidates with possible symptoms. We want to do it quick. We want to be efficient. We want to get the people who are not infected far away as possible to those who are. We want the ability to quickly sort the traffic based on elevated temperatures with alerts. This system does that. But more importantly, the future projection, again, is the ability to create a safer environment for businesses due to reopen. All these schools right now that are closed, guys, as integrators and installers, don't you remember what was one of the biggest headaches? School was open. Could you go inside and work on it? Yeah, maybe when school's closed, maybe during break. What about all the medical office facilities that need our help right now? They're still open, they're essential. But if there's one COVID patient in a multi-practice medical office, are they only going to close one wing? No, they're closing the whole business. This is also a loss prevention system to mitigate losses, to help the public understand what's going on coming in and out of these facilities, and give the public more information to make a better decision. One day when I finally go out and watch whatever new movie is out there because I'm tired and sick of Netflix, I want to know that the people that are in the vicinity of me inside that mall, or that movie theater rather, that their temperatures are within a normal range. It gives me one extra set of eyes through this information. As of yesterday, guys, whoever has listened to President Trump, he has already released the 3-phase proposition on guidelines on how to reopen our economy. Look at the beautiful thing and look at the opportunity that we have. The second guideline, which everyone must follow the rules, are temperature checks. They are already talking about things like this. And now it's going to become a norm. And you guys have the ins on this product and this information way before anyone else. Way before anyone else. As a little snippet, as of April 17th, which is today, 11 a.m., in the US, over 500,000 cases, almost reaching 700,000, 34,000 deaths. We can help blunt this curve, guys. Here's a different way. Here's a different way that we can do our part. So this document I also have available. If you guys are looking for this documentation, I can send this over to you, okay? But what we're talking about right now is that it's a proven solution. It works, but now it's going to be factored in to how we will reopen America. Now I'm going to jump into the product line, guys. The product line, okay? In this section here, we're going to go over a little bit more in detail, again, the physical setup, okay? The physical setup, configurations on the thermal camera and the NVR. We're also going to show you test samples and case studies, excuse me. Let's get into it. So in the Diamond line solution that we carry, we have this thermal solution that we're going to present today. Okay, we're going to show you the relationship with all of the given parts in this solution. It has fewer parts than a typical system, but it's important to know what everything does. We're going to show you the physical setup, the mountings, how, what are the elevations that you need to set things to. We're going to talk about that. And we're also going to show you configurations and features. We're also going to show you all of this. But I want to get down to the fundamentals really quick. Before showing you the parts, I want you guys to think about it and picture it in your brain. This solution comprises of 3 main devices, 3 and 3 only. The first thing is a thermal camera, okay? A thermal camera. The thermal camera, one thing to note is that this technology is based on face detection. Once it detects the person's face, it's going to look at the forehead region to read the temperature. So please ensure that face detection is enabled, which we'll show you in a later slide. That is the core of this detection, okay? Then it works in conjunction with the Blackbody sensor. The Blackbody sensor is a reference module. It is the size of an old school toaster oven with 2 pieces of bread. That's how I could describe it to you. Both of these devices are either wall or ceiling mounted, but what we recommend you to do is to put it on a tripod, making this a mobile solution. If you encounter an entity who maybe can't deploy 10, 20, 50 pieces of these, 100 pieces of these at one time, what they could do is that they can grab a few of these and use a new protocol to filter out the traffic in certain entrances and certain exits. Something to keep in mind is that the Blackbody sensor is not physically connected to anything except power, except local power. Why? The Blackbody sensor acts as a reference module, right? What we mean by that is, for example, in a science experiment, you have a control. The control is what you rely on to honor a certain kind of spec. The Blackbody sensor takes about 15 to 20 minutes to warm up to operating temperature, which at that given point in this solution, it warms up to 35 degrees Celsius, okay? 35 degrees Celsius. The relationship between the thermal camera and the Blackbody sensor is just distance, just distance. The thermal camera and the Blackbody sensor can be mounted about 10 feet apart from each other, with this stipulation that the Blackbody sensor must be in the view of the thermal camera. All of this can be combined back to an NVR, or if you have a larger project, we can go ahead and showcase you the CMS software, which stands for Central Monitoring Software. The thermal camera, as a reminder, is PoE. It's connected to the NVR or the CMS software on a laptop, positioned around 10 feet to 15 feet away from the Blackbody sensor. The Blackbody sensor is calibrated and only powered up, and smart detection will allow alerts and recordings based on elevated temperatures. So guys, I'm going to tell you guys this, and I'm going to say it very, very clearly. This solution does not capture fevers. This solution does not capture COVID-19, okay? Why? A person with a fever Although the medical grade standard is 100.4, everyone is slightly different. It's a plus or minus a little bit, okay? Nor is this a COVID-19 catcher. However, compared to whatever else is out on the market, this is already the go-to solution to create a safer distance and a safer environment for elevated temperature detection. So let's jump into the first solution, the Diamond solution. Let's go over the physical setup again. Really want to ingrain this information into your minds. Setup is very important and will maintain the accuracy. Please note the mounting elevation of the thermal camera of the Blackbody sensor, the distance that we went over, and that the Blackbody sensor is in the field of view, and the environmental temperature of the whole solution. This is a naturally an indoor application. If you would like to use it for outside, you need to control the environment. So it's not in a windy area. It's not in a place where sun is beating on the Blackbody sensor or the thermal camera. It's going to affect the accuracy. But if you want to put this in a mobile testing facility outside, no problem. Just make sure that the tarp that most likely you're going to put this under, the environment is controlled. Things to keep in mind before I start this video is that the thermal camera will require and take up 2 channels of the NVR. Hard drive is an option, and the lens on the thermal side is 13 millimeter fixed. As a friendly reminder, the Blackbody sensor is defaulted to 35 degrees Celsius. This is the reference module. Takes about 20 minutes to boot up and must be in the field of view of the thermal lens. So let's get into this video so you guys can see this in action. Please note the Blackbody sensor that was on the top left. Here's some applications that's already been in. All right, great. So that is an example of a little bit of the physical setup. We're going to dive deeper into that. Let's get into the next slide. All right. So the first video was basically to show you that it's not rocket science to set this up. Okay. We are more used to more expansive systems traditionally of what we sell: 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 1000 plus channel systems, right? But this is initially a 1 camera operation. The distance between the camera and the sensor is very important, right? Because it abides by social distancing. It's going to create a safer environment for people who are using this. And this is not a solution similar to a different industry like Purdue. Their motto is what? Set it and forget it, right? Set it and forget it. This is not that. This requires an operator. This does not replace an operator. You're looking for the ability to organize and separate this incoming influx of traffic That's what we're talking about. So what we're going to dive into here is the setup of the thermal camera. This one is presented by the project manager over in the West Coast. His name is Dan Jin. Excellent presentation for this one.
Hi, welcome to the ENS tutorial to set up the human body temperature solution camera. As you can see here, when you first connect the camera, the default IP address is going to be 192.168.1.108. When you first log into the web interface, it's going to ask you to initialize the camera, meaning you're going to set up a password first. So in this example, I set up the password to be Q12345667.
Volume.
Tell that this camera is bispectrum, meaning there's two lenses. There's going to be a normal view.
Guys, I think it might be the volume on your end. If you don't mind, just double check
your
your
set up the camera any further,
volume control.
there's a few settings that you want to do first. So let's go to the settings tab here. You want to first go to System, go to General, go to Date and Time. Make sure the NT server is checked. Make sure your time zone according to where you have the camera set up is correct, along with the date and time. And you want to click Sync IPC. In other words, sync the camera time with the computer time. The reason why you want to do that is not just to ensure the accuracy of the time, but also allows the temperature to be displayed over the person as they're walking into the camera view. Once you set this up, another thing you want to verify first is to make sure that the camera firmware is updated as well. So make sure that you get the firmware update from your sales rep. There's going to be two firmwares that you need to upgrade. Once you get that, then what you want to do is save it to a desktop folder, and then under the system settings here, you want to go to where it says upgrade. Once you select upgrade, then you want to go to browse. And in this example, I have the firmware saved on the folder on my desktop labeled Dahua Thermal Upgrade. Now, there's going to be two pieces of firmware that you need to upgrade first. One is going to be known as General TPC, and the other one is going to be Packet Camera. So make sure that you upgrade the firmware in this order. The first one is going to be General TPC. Once that's upgraded, the camera will reboot, log back in, and then upgrade the second one, which is the Packet Camera. Once the firmware is upgraded, then you want to go ahead and go into Information, and then verify that it has been upgraded by checking the build date. First one is under System Version. Here the date, and also the thermal camera version. The date is here as well. Once that's been upgraded, then what you can do is underneath the camera itself, there is a little door latch that you can open. There's a physical reset button. So while the camera is still powered on, you want to hold that reset button down for 10 to 15 seconds. Once it reboots, then the camera is ready to go. Once it reboots, it's going to set back to default settings, of course. So once you log back in, you're going to create another password, log back into the interface. Once you're back in the interface, then what you want to do is make sure that the live view is showing. Now, if the live view is showing black, then no problem. What you want to do is then go ahead and go into the web browser settings of Internet Explorer, go to Internet Options. Under the Advanced tab, you want to reset the browser. Once you reset the browser, close it, reopen it, and log back in, and then the live view should be displayed. Now, keep in mind, you don't have to do this every time. This is only if the browser is not displaying any live view. But if it is displaying live view after the firmware upgrade, then there's no need to reset the browser. So this tutorial is assuming that you have the camera and the Blackbody already installed according to the correct distance and the height. Another thing I want to mention is even though the NVR is a PoE NVR, meaning you can connect the camera to the back of the NVR, it's still recommended for easier installation to have a PoE switch in the setup, because you can connect the camera to the PoE switch, and then in case you need to, log in, because initially you have to set up the camera web interface. So if you have it plugged into a PoE switch, it's going to be a lot easier to connect a laptop to set up the settings first. Once you have all that done, then you want to go to Settings, And then under settings, the first thing you want to do is, after all the firmware upgrade in the system date and time, is go to network and go to TCP/IP. Now keep in mind that most of the setups will include an NVR. Now the NVR itself is also going to have the default IP address of 192.168.1.108. The camera is also the same IP address by default, so obviously there's going to be a conflict there. So what's recommended is either change the IP address of the NVR first to something different like 109, or you can change the IP address of the camera to something different like 109. Once that's done, the conflict will no longer exist, and then you're ready to add. After the IP address has been changed on either the NVR or the camera here, then we're going to go to the settings again. And the first thing you want to do is set up the thermal systems settings by going to Smart Thermal. First thing you want to do is go to Smart Plan. Make sure this is enabled, highlighted orange, and then click Save. Once that's done, you're going to go to Human Temperature. And then you're going to note that there's at least 5 tabs here. The first thing you want to do is start with the human temperature measurement, and then check the enable, go to period, and then make sure every day is set. By default, it's set for 24 hours, and click save. Now, another thing that I want to mention here is by default, this yellow rectangle here is not set here initially. It's going to be set around this border here. So during the setup, you're going to want to have a person standing next to the Blackbody that you see here that has a little green square. Now, where that person is standing is going to be dependent on where the path of walking is going to be. So in our example here, the path is on the side where the yellow rectangle is. So you're going to have a person standing right next to the Blackbody, and then you're going to click Draw Rule, and then redrag and reshape this orange rectangle to where it fits the upper torso of the person, where it covers the chest and slightly above the head. Now keep in mind that every person is a different height and also a different width. So what you want to do is when you drag the rectangle, you want to leave a little slack to accommodate for different sizes and shapes and heights of different people. Okay. Once that's done, you're going to check the temperature report, and then also high temperature abnormal alarm because we're concerned about fevers. So by default in Celsius, you're going to set it to the 37.3 degrees Celsius. Okay. Once that's done, you're going to go down here, and you have a couple of options for different alarms. Now, you might be in a noisy environment where there's a lot of noise, and it's going to be very hard to hear any type of enunciation. So if that's the case, you can check audio linkage, and then that will give you an option for an external alarm that's built into the camera itself to sound an alarm from the camera. Also, another option is to check the white light. It's a strobe light, so if the person does not want to hear an audio alarm, they can just see a strobe light as well. So you have that option here. You can select whether it's just a normally on light or whether it's flickering, and also you can select the frequency, how fast it flickers. Once that's done, you can hit save, and you're done for this part of the setup. The next part of the setup is to go to the Blackbody Parameter. The Blackbody is a module that's actually facing the camera from the opposite direction. This is a temperature reference module that's very easy to set up. It allows for the accuracy of the camera to be down to 0.3 degrees Celsius, which allows for human body temperature, which makes it different from regular thermal cameras out in the market. So by default, what you want to do is draw the area first. Now this green square here is not here by default. So you're going to have to redrag and reshape the size to where it covers the outer edges of this internal square here. Not the pink area, but the internal square here. This blue rectangle, you'll note it was from the previous setting from that yellow rectangle that covers the human area where the person is going to be walking through. You want to check the enable box, and the Blackbody temperature is going to be set to 35 degrees Celsius by default. Now, when you first set up the Blackbody, it's very simple. There's a power cable and there's a switch. Now, you turn it on, you let it run for about 20 to 30 minutes, and it'll stabilize to 35 degrees Celsius, which is where that 35 degrees comes from. The Blackbody distance is the distance from the Blackbody to the camera, which is recommended to be 3 meters for accuracy. Now, the 300 centimeters is 3 meters, so 100 centimeters is 1 meter. So when you set it on a tripod, the Blackbody and the camera, you want to measure the distance from the center pole of the Blackbody to the center pole of the camera. That's where you'll get your 300 centimeters or your 3 meters. The black body height will be from the base of the black body to the ground. So the 180 centimeters will be 1.8 meters. The camera height will be 200 centimeters from the base of the camera to the ground. So that's going to be 2 meters. Camera angle you can leave at default at 15 degrees and then hit save. The smart channel, you're going to set it to visual, and by default it's set to 90 degrees, so you want to move that down to maybe around 70 degrees. And then the crop images, you can leave it to off and hit save. For compensation settings, since we are measuring the forehead of the person that's walking to the camera view, then you want to select it to forehead thermometer and then hit save. The other settings, you have to be concerned about the ambient temperature. That's going to be the temperature of where this camera system is going to be set up. So what you can do is, if the installer does not have a thermometer, then what you can do is you can download an app on your phone, and then that will give you the ambient temperature of that location. So for example, this setup here in our showroom, the ambient temperature measure for my app was 15 degrees Celsius, so that's what I used, and I hit save. Once that's done, you want to go to where it says temperature and go to global setup. Under global setup, you want to enable temperature switch. Now, after the firmware upgrade, you're going to have an option for Celsius or Fahrenheit, so it depends on what the customer's preference is. Once that's set up, then you want to select the skin temperature mode and then hit save.
Beautiful. That was a little bit about the thermal camera setup. So this is the thermal web GUI side presented by Dan Jin. All right, and what we're going to do next is we're going to show you the NVR side of it, the NVR side. Okay, so let's get into the next slide. Keep note, something special that we did for you in this one is we showed you the live scene of what we have logged into. So this is a live site in Chicago in a grocery store, which will go over the relationship now between the NVR and the thermal camera. Remember this, guys, Blackbody sensor is pre-calibrated, 35 degrees Celsius, you power it up, okay? Then you mount this Blackbody sensor on a tripod. It is mounted at, let's just say, 10 feet away from the thermal camera, where the thermal camera needs to have the black body within its frame, okay? Now what we're talking about is the relationship between the thermal camera and the NVR. We're gonna go in and look at the web GUI. Let's get into it. So this is a familiar look. This looks like the web GUI interface of the local NVR. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. This is the web interface of the NVR, whether you log in locally or you use a smart PSS and you log in remotely, either or.
Being that this is a modular based design, where is the first section that we go to build the relationship between the NVR and the thermal camera?
So the first step you want to go to is actually head over here to management. And from management, we'll go ahead and go to camera. In the camera, will go ahead and populate the interface, so you can see here, and you'll see it's added two cameras already, two channels, I should say, of the thermal camera. One is a visual and the other is a thermal. Thermal cameras, specifically dual spectrum ones, take up two channels, as opposed to possible other thermal cameras which might only show the thermal part.
So something special about this solution, it's actually two cameras, two sensors built into one camera, allowing you to process all of that data.
Yes, that is correct, which is why you'll see the IP address is actually the same for the camera, and there's actually two channels, remote channel 1 for visual and remote channel 2 for thermal.
And of course, when you're saying adding this thermal camera to the NVR, we're adding it via the IP address.
Yes, that's correct. And you can add it either manually or you can add it by searching for it if it had a DHCP address, or in this case, this NVR is a built-in Pili NVR. You can just go ahead and plug it straight into the back.
So now that these two devices are binded together, what's the next step?
So the next step, what we want to do is, I'll go ahead and exit out of here. We'll head back to the main menu, and we want to go to the AI. In AI, we have a couple tabs here on the left hand, and we want to go to Parameters. Under Parameters, we want to go to Smart Plan, and we want to go to the second channel, the second video feed.
Being the thermal channel, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. And as you can see here, we have the human temperature management, and we want that to be enabled. This is the function that we need to enable so that we can get these types of elevated body temperature readings.
And how do we know if it's enabled or not?
So if it's enabled, it'll be highlighted blue. If it's disabled, it'll be grayed out.
Perfect. So we first go into Smart Plan. We're telling the thermal camera that we do want this feature to be enabled. What's the next step?
So the next step here is we go over to face detection. And under face detection, we want to make sure that here everything is enabled, and it will be by the device, which the NVR is doing. And we go ahead and click OK.
Okay. So this is already a pre-configured system. What is the next section that needs to be set up?
So after this setup, then basically that's about it. There's nothing else. If you want to save data into a face recognition and you want to start having a type of archive, then you would want to go to face recognition and enable that as well. You set your parameters here, and then you have face recognition. That way all the snapshots that come in will have, you'll have a database which will be here, and you will be able to record that and get more data.
So because this solution is first based off face detection, you actually have an opportunity of tagging the faces. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. Which is why here we have face detection, face recognition, and we have IVS, which are a lot of other functions this NVR has. But our main solution here that we're trying to provide and show is actually human temperature. So here you can actually search for human temperature. You can select the range, and let's go ahead and pick last week,
okay,
on the 7th, okay, and we can go ahead and click Smart Search. Under Smart Search, it'll go ahead and populate all the data, the snapshots that have been taken on that day, and this is all the elevated temperatures. And you can see here there'll be the quick snapshot here, and you'll have a full picture here with the playback to go.
Okay, so this is great. Pretty easy to define the parameters that we want to search based on high temperature, based on date and time, and it quickly populated all the data it has documented, and we also have the ability to play it back.
Yes, that is correct. To get these types of data, where you would want to go to is head back over to the main menu, and you would be going over to Alarm. In Alarm is where you see the section on the left-hand side, Thermal Alarm. This is where you can get types of notifications on the second channel, because that's where the alarm is coming from. Not the first channel, which is the visual. There's no thermal effect on it. You have to go to the second channel. You can get temperature alerts, you can get the elevated temperature alerts, you can have it emailed, you can have it record, and in this case, this particular camera has audio and also has a white light.
So interesting. So this is the section where we are defining to the recorder that when it is above a certain range, and in this instance, high temperatures considered anything above 100.3, we can have alerts built into the camera, such as audio and white light.
That is correct. Yes.
Awesome.
Yep. And that's about it. That's all the settings that you need to go through. Really quick and easy.
Can you show us a live sample of this configuration?
Sure. 1 second.
Wow. Okay. So over here, what you're showing us, it looks like a grocery application. One question that I have is, what does that blue box on the thermal camera represent again?
So the blue box actually shows the zone or the area where you want face detection to be happening, basically. And you, in our previous video where the configuration for the face detection, you have to set a certain distance away from the camera. And as well, if you see on the top, here on the top, you see that there's a green square. That's where the black body box is as well. And as you can see, instead of having it to the left or to the right, this one is ceiling mounted up on top. That's also an option where you can have these types of applications.
So it looks like the blue detection area is defined after understanding how the traffic flows. It seems like people who are walking into the store will most likely grab a cart or just move forward. That's why the detection box is on the lower half of the thermal camera as opposed to the full channel.
Yes, that is correct.
Awesome. Great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
So good, guys. That's a little blurb on the NVR configuration side. I mean, between both videos, right? Between both videos, even the first one, the predominant of the first one was maybe to just double check firmwares and all that kind of stuff. But as you could tell, once the parameters are defined, once the distances between the certain pieces have been positioned, pretty simplistic, right? We were able to see a degree of smart search where we can pull up all of the high elevated temperatures, okay? And of course, what we're showing you right now is definitely the web interface part. But in the next slide, we want to go ahead and show you some in-house testings, whether it's at one of our facilities, also the factory. So let's go with the left-hand side first, where it's going to show you an elevated temperature and the detection.
In this next live demo, we're going to have Kenny Macker, who's our ENS sales manager, demonstrate an abnormal temperature alarm by using a wet cloth that's hot to simulate an abnormal temperature.
Please note that for that particular test, the Blackbody box sensor, check out where that is, guys. Within the frame of the thermal camera, but it's not overlapping the blue detection zone, okay? So this one is showing you the ability to set off an alert. And remember, when we were setting up this thermal camera, you had a choice of actually inputting, let's just say a horn or a siren that's naturally built into that camera. So if you want to use that, that's actually the sound that you just heard, okay? Now we're going to show you a video from the factory. However, this recording is actually what you would see from the NVR, which is more information. And even before I begin the video, I want to show you all the face detection that's currently being done on the right-hand target detection box. And on the top right-hand corner of the target detection box is today's statistics, which include all measurements taken, how many were normal, how many were abnormal, how many was wearing a mask, okay? So this is good information for you to backtrack to see how this system has been functioning, let's just say on a day-to-day basis. Let's get right into it. So as you can tell, a quick detection, and this one is a elevated temperature detection where now we see that she's flagged. And again, once you tag the particular entity, in the previous video for the NVR configuration, we were able to pull it up based on different criterias, okay? In this instance, it will be a high temperature search. In the next slide here, just want to show you again on the left-hand side what the local NVR interface, the type of data that it will give you, okay? The type of data. If you guys can see a better image of today's statistics on the top right-hand corner. On the right-hand side, though, is actually the exact contraption, the exact setup for the live video feed that you guys just saw. This is the supermarket application, right? And what I want to mention is this concept. A surveillance solution like the thermal solution, like a license plate recognition solution, like a face recognition solution, the scene must abide by the stipulations of the camera and the setup, as opposed to a more common camera that is mounted in a parking lot where you want to see the wide field of view. What you're looking for that in that scenario is a wide field of view camera with a long range IR. But in this solution, you're looking for the distance, the elevation, and ultimately that will hold the detection accuracy. So the purpose of the right-hand picture is even to show you a non-tripod application, but a drop-down application right in front of the supermarket entrance. And if you remember inside of the videos, you were able to see that they sort of narrowed down or put the carts in its own section where they're forced to walk through this setup. So it's going to be a protocol that works in conjunction with the solution to get the full effect. Do not expect this to work for a Black Friday kind of application where there's huge sales and there are just so many people bombarding through the front entrance. It's not made for that currently. Now, between me and you, this solution can detect more than one face at a time. As a matter of fact, in lab testings, we've seen it go upward towards a 15. However, just because the new race car you bought can go 400 miles an hour, you still need to follow state rules. Why I'm using that example is this. One day we can use it for higher and more detections per second. But in the meantime, even at this grocery store, we are creating a protocol that will help detect more faces. We're funneling the traffic, therefore we can isolate it and search it fast. All right, guys? So this is some samples, not only from the local display, but also one of the many, many projects that we worked on. I just want to show you a more common one, which supermarket grocery chain stores, you can imagine if there's one, there's probably a lot more. Okay, so we're gonna dive deeper now into some case studies and we're gonna jump into Q&A. So these solutions, whether it's the NVR or the CMS, both solutions have already been proven and have been used in pandemic hotspots all over the world, okay? And now it's our chance to do our due diligence and put it and promote this information to our communities that we've grown up in, okay? Communities of our loved ones, and of course, all of the frontline essential workers who truly need a higher level of guidance besides what they have been already been told, or thermal guns that they have already been using. So that we need something better, and our industry is able to deliver just that. So we're gonna go into, I wanna quickly show you an office environment setting with this solution. Let's get into it. Check this out, guys. Inside an office, this is what it can do. Am I suggesting you to do this in the beginning? The answer is no. We're trying to isolate the people without the potential of spreading of the infection. But look what it can do in its final stage. Blackbody Sensor is on the left-hand side. I want you guys to keep note of that. We have detections at a very high speed. We have multiple objects walking within this frame, people popping in, people popping out. but they're using this narrow entrance to create this kind of contraption. Okay. This section is to show you obstructions. So can it detect through certain objects? The answer is yes, because what they're looking for is the forehead temperature. So this part is showing you about a higher level of classification. Since it's doing face detection first, it doesn't care for the hotter coffee that the gentleman is holding. Even the cup, nothing. So we're talking about accuracy, we're talking about distance, and yes, we're also allowing this business and operate probably do the essential time period, and after the essential time period, when they're looking to maybe rehire some of their employees or gain some new employees, it's going to be a safer environment. Let's jump into the next one. These are some global case studies. Awesome. So guys, this solution again has been implemented in many, many, many other different sectors, right? Banks, offices, hospitals, airports. Remember the thing I showed you from Trump? It will become a norm to do fever temperature solutions. This is going to help build the confidence for everybody, guys, okay? Okay, just want to do a quick refreshment on everything we talked about. Thermal camera. The thermal camera, for some of you guys, I see you guys are asking some questions inside the chat, which we're going to go over all of them. The thermal camera is a 2 megapixel visible lens, 8 millimeter, 2 megapixel with an 8 millimeter lens, visible, 13 millimeter thermal uncooled 400 by 300 effective pixel. Combined with the Blackbody sensor, you're going to get an accuracy rating of plus or minus 0.54 degrees Fahrenheit. It's got to be mounted about 6 feet high, positioned around 10 feet away from the Blackbody. The NVR is 265. It supports up to 12 megs. And since a thermal camera requires 2 channels, you can put a maximum of 6 into this 16-channel recorder, okay, allowing you to put 4 additional cameras. You do not lose any kind of features or specs when you're using the thermal solution. The Blackbody sensor, keep in mind, must be in the field of view. Only power is connected to the device. Make it easier for you. The preset is already defined at 35 and mounted about 6 feet high, guys. Okay. These are some key points to remember about the solution that we're talking about. Thermal camera, partnering up with the Blackbody sensor, 10 feet away, a detection is done. Their face detection can be implemented into a target box, target detection area, where you can flag and search all of this. All right, guys? Really simplistic solution in terms of configuration, but acts as a very big piece of the puzzle. Okay? So some reminders before we go into the Q&A session, some reminders. All right. I really want to share with you guys, and I'll give you a little bit of personal information about myself. Me personally, before being the project manager here, I was a sales manager. I had one of the top teams of this company, but prior in sales, in this industry, I was also in mortgages and real estate. And I could tell you that being part of this industry, and you guys should feel this too, I'm so proud. I'm so proud to be in this industry because in a time of need, when the world is looking for answers, we can be a part of that solution, okay? This is a game-changing solution to create a safer environment for you, for your loved ones, for your family, for your neighbors. Everybody's included. And it's only together that we can make these changes. It's only together. It's only when we partner up together that we can make these changes. And the truth is, we can't do this alone. We need everybody on the same page. We need this because humanity is looking for something, for an industry like us. Humanity is looking to reopen. This is not going to be forever, this pandemic. But with this solution, with our partnership, we're going to get it to the right people. We're going to get it to the right industries. And we're going to make a big change in the bigger puzzle that we're facing together. All right, guys? So without further ado, I really appreciate all of you guys for listening in, signing in today, going over this information. Please keep in mind, I'm going to go over some of the Q&A questions. I'm going to read them out, okay? Some of the questions that you guys have been asking so far have to do with pricing. Pricing is done through your sales rep, okay? And with any type of registered projects, there can be bulk discounts. So if you guys are talking about pricing, please pay attention. Is there an MSRP? The answer is yes. Okay. Is there suggested? The answer is yes. All right. I'm gonna start talking about some of the questions. Okay. MPM Duke says, does the AI alert if there is a person? Sorry, can you roll up? Can you scroll up for a sec? If there is a person, go up. If there is a person that fails to produce temp reading, great. So here's how this solution needs to work, okay? First of all, this allows you to sort the traffic. This allows you to sort the traffic, Duke, okay? You're always going to use another FDA-approved device to do the next protocol. For example, if me and you, Duke, we walk into a building, you're okay, but I'm flagged as a higher temperature. I'm going to be escorted, I'm going to be ushered to a different part, let's say a nurse, let's just say whoever might be there to retake my temperature, okay? Remember, there is no end-all be-all solution unless it's a vaccine. What we're talking about right now is creating a safer environment, and if you need to tag somebody, you do have the ability to edit and modify those specs, all right? I'm going to go to the next question. Mike asked, can this be used to monitor equipment or machinery to make sure it doesn't overheat? Short answer is yes, Mike. Yes, it can. Okay, it can. It was previously used in other industries that didn't require this kind of accuracy, right? For example, we've deployed thermal solutions in nuclear facilities. We've deployed thermal solutions inside, let's say, a paper mill factory. They were looking towards a thermal solution in case things were overheating. So the answer is yes. Reveal to us your application and we could give you some tips and tricks, okay? Yes. So Voight asked a really excellent question, okay? Really excellent question. He asked, is there any legal implications of this? Here's the rule, okay? Every state has different recording rules, right? What we're showcasing to you right now is, depending on the rule of your state, this solution has the ability to record, has the ability to do alert, or you don't have to record it. You can keep it live. The choice is up to you. Again, this is about having a system. This is about having a system. This is about having a platform that can be used today, okay? That could be used immediately and help out, okay? All right, I'm gonna go next. Nick Grasso, is there a lower economic solution for small businesses? So what we foresee is that in the late future, late, not near, that there will be more economical solution. That is true, Nick. But this is how business works. When something is hot, that's when you want it. And right now, we foresee that since even this new command to stay indoors longer in New York, I believe it's up to May 12th now, okay? We're talking about during that time period and moving forward, there's gonna be a lot of opportunity, May 16th, so sorry, May 16th. We're gonna have a great opportunity moving forward to promote this solution. However, what we have tested, since we're privy to so many different kinds of solutions from China, we've tested that the more economical solutions, the accuracy rating is not of a medical caliber. So here's the effect that you're gonna get, Nick. You're gonna look for a lower economical solution, which it's out there. But the accuracy rating is way too low, or the distance doesn't abide by social distancing. So instead of helping them, Nick, you might actually create more problems where people are not being funneled to the correct spot, whether they're flagged or whether they're not. So will there be, in the nature of business? Yes. Do we foresee it in the near future? The answer is no, because we have already tested the economical ones, all right? And Private Eye says, we as sales engineers should praise and cherish the question, how much is it? I always ask them, what do you mean? Okay, so guys, this webinar is to introduce the particular solution. Your sales reps will work very hard in understanding the projects. And let me tell you what you guys get with us, okay? Every single project in thermal pertaining to the East Coast goes through me. I'm the project manager over here, and I will oversee to make sure everything is entertained, okay? If you guys foresee that you have a clientele that would like to purchase this or deploy this in bulk, Nick, and private, we can register this project and apply for bulk discount. So since you come from the sales engineer portion of it, you can imagine that there's always a possibility. Let me just go back. Sorry, I'm gonna go back up to the questions really quick. So N Private says the response to the previous question from if you have not have the response to the previous question from if you have our system or not.
Oh, confused.
I'll talk to you a little bit more privately about that and Private Eyes, okay? After this seminar, all right? After this webinar, rather. I'm gonna go back to Nick's. I get that, but for Nick Grasso says, I get that, but for a small gym, I was under the impression that there's a single camera that would cost under $2,000. Is that true? The answer is no. The answer is no. Okay, guys. let me tell you guys something. If the medical field, okay, or if any kind of field provided you something, but it didn't solve your problem, did they give you anything of value? The answer is no. What I'm telling you is that the other solutions that we've seen, the accuracy rating is so off the chart that it's not made for the solution we're trying to solve right now. Have I seen a single camera system? Yes. But you're talking about a temperature fluctuation of, let's say, 5 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit at minimum, 5 to 10 degrees. If we're talking about an accuracy rating of plus or minus 0.54, if you have a normal body temperature of 98.6, if we have a difference of plus or minus 10 to 15, it's going to show you at 108. 108, okay? Which is too high. So accuracy is important. He's dead. You got it. That's right. That's right. Okay. So let's talk about delivery. I think that's an important question too. Logistics. Give me 1 second. Let me just get to that. Okay. So question is there a time for delivery? So we currently have stock of this. First come, first serve. In a normal instance, if we have sold out, which we have not, it will take maybe a maximum of 1 to 1.5 weeks of a turnaround time, okay? You can discuss this with your sales rep. There are some times that we might even get some extra, but we do stock this, okay? I'm gonna go back to N Private's message. He says, in other words, I love it when someone asks how much, because we should ask the question. Yes, you're correct. Excuse me. We should always ask that question. However, I just don't have that answer for you. Everyone has a different project. Everyone has different demands. There might be some other deeper levels that we need to talk about, but generally your sales will be able to help you out with that. And inside the, excuse me, inside the chat group right now, I'm going to go ahead and extend to you my email, okay? And what we'll do is please take this email, jot it down. I'll also give you my direct line. Please take this email and this phone number, as you can reach out to me anytime to go ahead and talk about this solution, okay? We will work hand in hand with your sales rep as well as myself to propose and show you guys what this solution is if you have any more questions. And what I'm also willing to do for you guys is, if you have the end user that has more questions, if you would like another formal presentation, just book the time with your sales rep. All right. Voight, tech support, how many is it? 24/7. So we have our normal tech support channels, but Voight, this type of project, I will be going over the ins and outs with you until you live and breathe all the features. So what we're about is, we're all about helping you understand the product before you deploy it, which is very simple for us, okay? Adam, we skipped Adam's question. We're gonna go back. Give me 1 second. So Adam says, Eric, will there be any criteria needed for these special equipment after COVID-19? For what we foresee right now, the answer is no. The answer is no, okay? Remember, Adam, this is a solution that we foresee that could be used now and also later, right? And after COVID-19, we foresee that even more common businesses who couldn't afford it at the time are gonna want this as a norm. And just remember the beautiful slide that I showed you about Trump's 3-phase proposition on how to open up the economy. We are within that game plan. I hope that answers your question for you.
I think critical is he asking, will we still be using these types of equipment after COVID? Then yes.
Oh, if your question is, Adam, will we be moving this product post-pandemic? The answer is absolutely yes. We foresee that this is actually another golden age for our industry. Before being able to put in and service the 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 500, 1000, however many cameras you guys service, what's going to give even you and your installers a peace of mind? What will help you guys? What will help the normal employees? Think about it, guys. We must leave our bunker sometime or another. We must. We're humans. We're social beings, okay? And during this time where we need to quarantine for the greater good, we need to do our due diligence, all right? Toby Stevens asked, are marketing materials already available on your site for this solution? Yes, there is a certain amount of marketing material already pumped out. You can also ask your sales rep. They have plenty of raw material to give you guys. I will be uploading this PowerPoint onto our Google Drive as well as this webinar, audio recording and video. All right, guys. Any other questions? Because they're all really good. Calibration. So Randy, I'm not sure which calibration you're talking about, but I'm just going to assume you're talking about the Blackbody. The Blackbody calibration, Randy? Okay, perfect. Randy, this is the easiest piece, okay? Literally, the piece looks like the size of a toaster oven, okay? And in this piece, out of the box, it's already pre-programmed at 35 degrees Celsius. You're gonna take a 110 volt power cable and you're gonna plug it directly to a wall outlet and allow 15 to 20 minutes to boot to operating temperature. That's it. Nothing else on the Blackbody side. Nick Rosso asked, can we get cut sheets that we can add to our letterhead and contact numbers? The answer is yes. Please grab that from your sales rep. ESS asks, does the equipment need to be calibrated at any time?
You mean every time?
If you mean every time, the answer is only if you change the parameters in terms of distance, okay, between the Blackbody or the thermal camera, or if someone nudges the contraption. The answer is yes. But it's very easy to get it back into that setup. Very, very easy. Maybe I could give you guys another analogy on how this is set up, okay? If we're talking about a chess game, you just have to make sure the pieces are in the right position. Literally, it's just putting them in those spots. Once you do so, it will work. Nick asked, let's come up with a COVID-19 video test. That is what, okay. So marketing, before you jump the gun, Nick, just grab some of the marketing material that's already available. Ask Sarah, I believe that's your sales rep, for some more. And if you need more, we'll see what we could do to come up and pump out some with you, okay? I think that definitely can be done. And we understand the urgency of this. Right now, get it out to as many people, this information to as many people as possible. It's very, very pertinent. Okay, we foresee the next 3 to 6 months is going to be the hot time to sell this, the hottest time. All right, whether you're looking to save lives, which is what we're looking to do, or whether you're looking to survive and make some, whether you're looking to overcome this hurdle, this is the technology to do it. So, and Private asks, is Dahua the only manufacturer in the US now to have this technology? The answer is no. The answer is no, okay? However, we have tested the other technology and it has not proven itself to have the same caliber of this solution, okay? We have seen it We have tested it all, but this is the one at the highest caliber, at the best value. Do we have systems out there that are double or triple this price? The answer is yes. But right now, we have seen that this works and it makes sense for the market, and it has already been deployed. We're talking about hospital facilities in New York, right? We're talking about grocery chain stores. We're talking about factories, pecan factories, chicken factories. I won't get deeper into those particular projects, but if you look on the news, those type of factories have already implemented our solutions. Airports, hospitals, clinics, mobile clinics. It's already been proven. It's already working. Okay, guys? Any other question you guys might have? What is the maximum detection width area? So I believe the maximum detection width area, bear with me 1 second. Good question. Are they saying this right now?
No, they're not. What is it?
I will get you that spec, but I believe it's within a 5 to 10 feet range. If you're using the 10 feet range between the Blackbody sensor and the thermal camera. I actually, ESS, I actually have a diagram. I'm just trying to see if I could pull that up for you right now. .5 meters ESS, 1.5 meters. So 1.5 times 3 is the width. Okay, 1.5 times 3. Okay, let me go back to some questions really quick. Nick asked, what about the liability waiver for someone that buys or registers a high temperature and it is normal? Nick, this is not an FDA approved device. This is not a medical device. We just have a piece of the puzzle. There's not enough time to get all of that approval. People are a lot more understanding right now. All you need to do is sign a waiver stating that this is to detect elevated temperatures. It is not a 100% accuracy. Nothing is 100% accuracy. However, it's in medical grade standards of plus or minus 0.4. I mean, sorry, 0.54. All right. So you should sign a waiver. Okay. It's a good idea. But remember, this is not catching a fever. For all of you guys who are going to promote this to catch a fever, you will encounter issues. Don't sell it as that. Don't promote it as that. This is an elevated human body temperature alert system. Okay. Adam says, what is the best recommended method to reach out to our prospective clients with this solution? Awesome question, Adam. Awesome question. Okay. Everybody is either working from home. Even a lot of top CEOs are working from home. Give them a call. Give your local community top officers a call. Adam, tell them you have been in that community for many, many years. You want to give back. You have a solution. You have part of the big piece of the puzzle. Show it to them. And if you need a presentation from us, Adam, again, we're all on board to be your wingman and go over that with them. All right, Adam? All right, guys. Guys, please take my information down again, patrick.l@ENS Security. Give me all your other questions. This is not the end. This is just the beginning. But if there's no other questions, guys, if there's no other questions, us here at ENS, we really appreciate your time. It's not an easy time for any of us to go through alone. Not any of us, okay? And really together we can make a difference. I really hope that you guys understand that philosophy, that if there's anything we can give back in this industry, besides the abundance of high-end securities that we have already deployed, let's help the people that we love. Let's help our communities. Let's make it happen. Let's do it together, guys. All right? Will there be remote assistance available? The answer is yes. This is not a sell and dump. This is for you to showcase to the world that we have something special and we're here along your side every step along the way. If you need a presentation and for me to represent your company, that's not a problem, guys. It's not a problem whatsoever, okay? Thanks so much, guys, for that feedback. I really appreciate it. There we go, Nick. Guys, please be safe. Please use correct PPE. Please get this information out there. Feel free to give me a call back. Thank you for also thanking Eric. Yes, he was in the back here working hard to make sure the presentation and all the audio quality is nice. This information will be available quite soon. All right, guys? Have a good one. Please be safe. Contact your sales rep, register their projects. Thank you so much, guys.